Next, we went up the East River. We went under the Brooklyn Bridge. Americans on the boat told me something funny. He said that dishonest people try to sell the Brooklyn Bridge. It's like this a dishonest man sees a stupid farmer. He says to the farmer, I will sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. You can make a lot of money. You can charge people in cars for going over the bridge. Then the dishonest man sells the bridge to the farmer and disappears. The poor farmer loses his money, of course. It's like selling a Hudson River Bridge to a man from the countryside. Later, we passed under the George Washington Bridge. It goes over the Hudson River from Manhattan to New Jersey. There's a little lighthouse on the rocks below the bridge. New Yorkers love their little lighthouse, but the bridge builders were going to tear it down. New Yorkers wouldn't let them, so the little lighthouse is still there. Of course, ships don't need it now. We are really enjoying New York. Sincerely, Wuji. 57초.
How does New York seem?
It seems bigger than Seoul. It also seems busier than Seoul.
How do the buildings seem?
The buildings seem bigger and there seem to be more of them.
Where did they have lunch?
They had lunch at Rockefeller Center.
What do they do in the winter there?
In the winter, they go ice skating there.
What famous buildings did the guide point out?
The guide pointed out many famous buildings like the Empire State Building, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and Carnegie Hall.
Where did Mom say they were going?
Mom said that we're going to the Statue of Liberty the day after tomorrow.
How high is the Statue of Liberty?
The statue is 92 meters high.
Who gave it to the Americans?
The French people gave it to the Americans.
Okay. What is the Statue of Liberty a symbol of?
It is a symbol of freedom and hope.
How far can you see from the top?
You can see for miles from the top of the statue.
How do you get to the top of the statue?
You can ride up to the top in an elevator.
Which airport is close to the statue?
Kennedy Airport is pretty close.
Are there a lot of small towns in New York?
Yes, there are a lot of small towns in New York.
What is Chinatown like?
Being in Chinatown is like being in China.
Is jjajangmyeon Chinese?
No, jjajangmyeon is not Chinese. It's Korean Chinese.
How did they honor saints in Little Italy?
There was a parade, dancing in the street, fireworks at night, and all kinds of candy and ices for sale.
How do they make the ice?
They grind up ice and pour a kind of fruit sauce over it.
Why do artists live in Greenwich Village?
In the old days, it was a little bit like a slum, so rents were low. That's why artists lived there.
Why is it easy to get lost in Greenwich Village?
The streets are not straight, and it's easy to get lost.
Did Eugene get lost in Greenwich Village?
Yes.
Right, yes he did. Next page. What is the Bronx?
Bronx is one of the Bronx.
How many Bronx does New York City have?
New York City has 5 of them.
What is special about the birthplace in the zoo?
The birds fly free.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in cages.
What are the birds doing when they were on the walkway?
Birds were flying around right near them.
Did the alligators look like they were awake?
No, they looked as though they were asleep.
Where did Eugene write that he was going tomorrow?
Tomorrow, he will going on a boat that goes around Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. Did they eat ice cream and take some pictures?
Yes, they ate ice cream and took some pictures.
Mm-hmm. What is Battery Park?
It was a fort a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. What did the Americans say dishonest people try to do?
He said that dishonest people try to sell the Brooklyn Bridge.
What does the dishonest man say?
He says to the farmer, I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. You can make a lot of money. You can charge people and cars for going over the bridge.
Where does the George Washington Bridge go?
It goes over the Hudson River from Manhattan to New Jersey.
Okay. What's on the rocks below the bridge?
There's a little lighthouse on the rocks below the bridge. Letters from New York. Dear Ki-hoon, I promised to write you a letter. Here we are in New York. And here is my first letter. You just can't imagine New York. It seems bigger than Seoul. It also seems busier than Seoul. The buildings seem bigger, and there seem to be more of them. What a city! Yesterday, we went to Rockefeller Center and St. Patrick's Cathedral. We had lunch at Rockefeller Center. The restaurant was outdoors. In the winter, they go ice skating there. St. Patrick's Cathedral is across the street from Rockefeller Center. It's a Catholic church. It looks like the big churches in Europe. After lunch, we went sightseeing. Our guide pointed out many famous buildings like the Empire State Building, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and Kennedy Hall. Mom said that we're going to the Statue of Liberty the day after tomorrow. I'll write you soon. I'll write again soon. Your friend Wu Jin. Dear Ki-hoon. We went to the Statue of Liberty yesterday. Can you imagine? The statue is 92 meters high. It was a gift to America. What a present. The French people gave it to the Americans. Even French school children gave money to pay for it. The Statue of Liberty is on an island in New York Harbor. It is a symbol of freedom and hope. Many people emigrated from Europe to the U.S. The first thing they saw in the U.S. was the Statue of Liberty. You can see for miles from the top of the statue. That's right, you can ride up to the top in an elevator. Then you can see Manhattan Island and the big buildings at the tip of the island. That's where the Twin Towers used to be. You can also see the Hudson River, the Atlantic Ocean, and lots of other places from the statue. A lot of airplanes fly over too. Kennedy Airport is pretty close. I really liked the boat ride to the Statue of Liberty. It was windy on the river. The water was a little rough. We sure are busy in New York. We rush around all the time. We're almost like New Yorkers. Best regards, Wu Jin. Dear Ki-hoon, you know, New York is a funny place. There are a lot of small towns in New York. Maybe you've heard of some of them. There are Little Italy, Chinatown, and Greenwich Village. They are near the southern tip of Manhattan. Being in Chinatown is like being in China. It smells of Chinese food. Almost everyone in Chinese. Everybody speaks Chinese. We had lunch there yesterday. Guess what? Jjajangmyeon is not Chinese. It's Korean Chinese. I asked for it in Chinatown, but no one understood me. So I asked to change my order. The food was great. You should have tasted the sweet and sour pork. Little Italy was exciting. The day we went there was a Saints' Day. The honor saints were the special days. There was a parade, dancing in the street, fireworks at night, and all kinds of candy and ice for sale. Their ices are something like our pot bingsu. They grind up ice and pour a kind of fruit sauce over it. They have lots of colors and lots of flavors. Have you heard of Greenwich Village? It's on the southern part of the island too. Lots of artists lived there. In the old days, it was a little bit like a slum, so rents were low. That's why artists lived there. Greenwich Village is a very old part of the city. The streets are not straight, and it's easy to get lost. One time we turned left on a main street into a very narrow street. We walked and walked. We were lost. We walked and walked until we came to a main street. It was right at the same place where we had started. Your friend, Wu Jin. Dear Ki-hoon, we went to the Bronx Zoo the day before yesterday. The Bronx is one of the Bronx. A Bronx is like a glue in Seoul. New York City has 5 of them. The zoo is big. We saw lots of animals like elephants and lions and tigers and giraffes. But the bird place was really interesting. Can you imagine? The birds fly free. They're not in cages. I think the best part was walking up in the tops of the trees. They have lots of trees like a rainforest indoors. And there is a walkway through the treetops. When we were up there, birds were flying around right near us. Some of them had beautifully colored feathers. Outside in one place, we saw 2 huge turtles in one big pond. In one of the regular exhibits, we saw some alligators. They looked as though they were asleep, but I didn't want to go near them. You should see their teeth. Tomorrow, we're going on a boat that goes around Manhattan. I like riding on boats. I will write you soon again. Your friend, Wu Jin. Dear Ki-hoon, that boat ride around Manhattan was great. Actually, some of it was a little bit boring, but mostly it was okay. We ate ice cream and took some pictures. We saw the Statue of Liberty again. We were far away from it this time. The trip started on the Hudson River. We went around the southern tip of Manhattan. That's where Battery Park is. It was a fort a long time ago. We saw where the Twin Towers had been from the boat too. The Twin Towers were 110 stories high. They were one of the symbols of New York, but they were destroyed by terrorists on September 11, 2001. It was a terrible disaster. Next, we went up the East River. We went under the Brooklyn Bridge. An American on the boat told me something funny. He said that dishonest people try to sell the Brooklyn Bridge. It's like this. A dishonest man sees a stupid farmer. He says to the farmer, I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. You can make a lot of money. You can charge people and cars for going over the bridge. Then the dishonest man sells the bridge to the farmer and disappears. The poor farmer loses his money, of course. It's like selling a Han River Bridge to a man from the countryside. Later, we passed under the George Washington Bridge. It goes over the Hudson River from Manhattan to New Jersey. There's a little lighthouse on the rocks below the bridge. New Yorkers love their little lighthouse, but the bridge builders were going to tear it down. New Yorkers wouldn't let them, so the little lighthouse is still there. Of course, ships don't need it now. We are really enjoying New York. Sincerely, Wu Jin.